So the first thing you're going to want to do is find the lesson itself, which is called Fear of the Dark. So you can scroll down and find the training sets, or do what I'm doing here and just type in fear, and our system will find it pretty quickly. Click on the tile, and here you will find the lesson that you're going to be doing for the first in the training set. Fear of the Dark is a quick write. On a scale of 1 to 10, rate your fear of the dark, with 1 being no fear at all and 10 meaning you're absolutely terrified of the dark. Kids will have fun with this. You can read through the lesson here. You'll see the resources that are available. It's really a quick write. The kids are going to write in one single frame. But if you do want to get into some background information, we have articles here, one from CNN, one from Healthline. You could turn this into a proper lesson, a reading discussion lesson, and then move on to the actual writing. When you're ready to assign it, hit assign here, and this is going to take you to your essay dashboard where you will be able to do many things, and including assign the assignment to your students. Now, if you've not yet set up your groups, you're going to want to go back and do that. There's an article that we've provided for you that shows you how to onboard your students. It's very, very simply done, but you'll add them here by clicking assign, and you're going to want to add them to the Hive because the students will interact in the Hive in this lesson. The other thing you're going to want to do, scroll down here, there's a lot you can do in the dashboard. We're just going to take it one at a time. We want you to enable assessments here with this toggle, and we're going to go to this accordion window, and we're going to choose quick write. And for this particular quick write that they're doing, let's go ahead and use organization and cohesion as the rubric descriptor that we'll use. It's a holistic, basic judgment of organization and cohesion. You'll see the language of the rubric when you go to the scoring area. And in addition to that, let's let students score each other on the rubric. So we can talk about the rubric with our students, and we can allow them to make assessments on each other. So that's the setup. Now we'll take a look at what the writing area is going to look like. Oh, before we move on, let's go back up here. You're going to write this too. You're going to write alongside your students. So we're going to hit the Create Demo button. Watch what happens when you click this. Okay? Very subtle, but you'll notice here that I have this tab up here that says Demo. I'm going to be clicking on that, and this is going to take you into the student view. So here you will be able to set up a title, your data that you'll be using, to be part of your heading of your paper. I think it's really important that you do write alongside your students, and they're going to be able to see your writing, so you can model good writing for them. So that's the setup. And so when you selected demo, you basically selected the student view. So this is going to be what the students are going to see. And again, they'll put their title here in this area, and that will follow. They can always come back here and change that. And they're going to go right to the writing area. So we'll hit start writing. We're not going to do a pre-write in this one. We'll do that later in the training set. But go ahead and hit start writing. And this is going to be the area where the students are going to be composing their quick write. You'll notice that you have a nice large box to write in. You have the prompt here and the criteria right next to your writing. And you would simply begin composing in this area here, as I'm doing. And the minimum word count here is 125. Now you could set them up on a timer. We'll do that later in the training set. We haven't required that here, but the students can go ahead and just write in this area here. And this is where they'll compose. Now keep in mind that as they do compose, the document is being converted into an MLA formatted document in the background at all times. But again, they'll write here. And when they are finished writing in this area, then they will go and interact with one another in the Hive environment, which I will show you next. All right, so I've written my quick write, and my peers, my students have done the same. And now that I'm confident that I'm finished, I'm going to take a look at it in that MLA formatted document. Okay, looks good. X out of that. I'm done, so I'm going to hit the check mark. All right, and that's going to indicate in the Hive that I'm actually finished. So let's go to the Hive by going to the beehive icon here. Go ahead and click on that. And we're going to see all of the tiles representing the different classes. And the students will see the same thing. And in addition to that, they can see mine. So if they want to click on my quick write, they could comment on it, just as I can comment on theirs. But let's go to a class. We'll go to period 6 here. We'll go to a student. And as you can see here, this is where students are going to be able to see the writing of their peers, and they're going to be able to leave comments and feedback here, as Catherine has received. And I can leave her additional feedback by writing it here directly in this window and posting it. I can also go to the auto commentary if I would like to, and look for things that are well done or things that I might suggest that she can do differently. We like to encourage students to use these. It kind of helps them and guides them and scaffolds their ability to give one another feedback. Okay, so we can go here, and students can be placed in clusters, which was something we would probably recommend for this activity. So we'll go ahead and put this group in a group of 4. And now it kind of corrals them together so that everybody's ensured to get some feedback. You could customize these if you want. You can move the avatars around, as you can see. A couple things I should point out as you're looking at this. If you're wondering about why students are in green and some are maybe in red, there is a color coding system here. Green indicates that they've actually finished and they hit that check mark like I showed you earlier. If they're in red, that means they didn't log in. This is a student that could have been absent. Jamal here is in purple. He exceeded the 125 word count. However, he has not indicated yet that he's finished. And I don't see anybody in orange, but if somebody was in orange, that would mean that they are still working on the assignment and have not yet finished writing. And they haven't achieved the minimum word count either. So again, set up the students in clusters, and then we can go in and begin leaving feedback, as you can see here. Okay, so the writing's done. The commentary has been done in the Hive. Kids are having a great conversation, and now we want to deal with assessment. Now, we selected one area of assessment earlier. As you remember, in the dashboard, we selected, I believe it was cohesion and organization. So in order to start the grading process, you're going to go to this icon here, which is the assessment icon. Okay, it's right next to the chat. And whatever you've selected, this is a different paper. We've selected research and evidence. Whatever you've selected, whether it be one element or many, it's going to show up here in this sort of pill-shaped selection. So you would go through and you'll see that there is a populated rubric with all the criteria, advanced, proficient, all the way down to some students may not have written at all, in which case they would get a missing. Once you've left a score, Aaliyah here got a 4, then I could leave a constructive comment or some feedback, and I can even go back down to that auto commentary and use that to sort of speed things along there. So I'll go ahead and do all of my students in this way. I can go to my next student just by hitting this arrow here, okay, and just keep going and score quickly on that element or elements that I've chosen. Keep in mind that the students will also be able to score. Remember, you set it up earlier as students can score on one another. So they will be scoring on the rubric as well. We really like this because it helps students to internalize the language of the rubrics. Their scores are going to go into a sort of different bucket, if you will. When you want to finally see the scoring for this group of students, that's easily done. So you just go back to the Hive area, okay? And we'll go here to the Hive. And and we're going to go to the bottom here, and we're going to view the assessment report for this particular essay, and that resides underneath the students' avatars. And now you're going to be able to see the data from this assignment. You'll notice that the student assignments are over here in a sort of different category here, and your scores are the main scores right here. Okay, so quick write, single writing frame. Students will interact in the Hive. You will use the assessment for this one. Students will assess one another, and that'll be it for this assignment. And we'll move on to lesson 2.